What is up? Welcome to the Plug Podcast. Music and more. I'm Bushy. That's Metal Mike. How you doing?
What's up, brother? Merry Christmas. Shitter was full.
Shitter was full. Absolutely. Yeah, as you could tell, this is going to be our Christmas episode.
Yeah, see, check it out, man. I got my ugly Christmas sweater and everything, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And of course, everyone knows how much I love Santa, so I've got Believe.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool image. Is that from a movie or something, or just a painting,
I
or
I don't know. Mindy actually got that for me because she knows I'm a Santa Claus fucking nut.
yeah?
Yeah, it's
I
the best of
what do you think of the preview for that red one? That looks like it might be pretty funny, man. Have you
I
seen it?
I've seen it.
Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts without giving anything away? Did you like it?
Not giving anything away. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, cool.
It's a fun movie.
Cool. It looks like a lot of fun.
And the guy playing Santa Claus, I just don't
I
see
love
Santa
him, man.
Claus, but it worked. It
That
worked.
guy, man, that dude's ripped, isn't he?
Yeah.
Fuck, I would not want to mess with that old guy.
He's all cock diesel. That's what I said when I
Did
watched it.
you?
Like,
I mean, I guess maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to ask, have you ever seen Silent Night with Dave Harbour as Santa Claus?
no.
You need to watch that, dude. It's hilarious. It's kind of a yeah, it's an action film. It's pretty funny, man, but it's like Santa fucking bad guys up, dude.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
You know what? Maybe I have seen that one. Is that the one where he's got the axe?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
big Viking axe or whatever?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
have.
like these
He
these
looks like a big fucking Viking.
these guys come into this home and they're like trying to kidnap these people and hold them hostage, and Nick just happens to be there doing his thing,
Yeah.
and they start fucking with them, and he was like, "Man, don't mess with me," and he just opens up a can of whoop ass
Yeah.
on all of them. Man, it's
I've
hilarious.
forgotten about that one too. That's
Yeah,
fun.
that's a good one. So well, that's one of my honorable mentions. So
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that one.
all right,
Good stuff. That's what we're doing today. We're going to be talking about our top 10 favorite Christmas movies. We stipulated not Christmas specials. So,
which don't get me wrong, obviously that's a big part of the holiday season. I
yeah,
mean, as a little kid, I remember we watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer,
Charlie Brown
Frosty the Snowman.
Christmas.
I mean, one of my favorite expressions I make do is whenever somebody, especially if it's a girl, does something nice for me, I take a, I just take a tip from Frosty because whenever they put the hat on him, he'd come to life. He'd always go, "Happy birthday," and I say it just like that, happy, and then and people, almost everybody gets it instantly because they've seen that cartoon so many times, man. So yeah, I love that stuff, and it is definitely part of the holiday tradition.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, because really, as a little kid, even I remember a lot of that stuff. They would start showing that stuff right around Thanksgiving or after
Yeah.
things. It was like, because you had Halloween. I mean, end of the year was always my favorite time of the year in a lot of ways,
Now,
because you got autumn, and I love autumn, and you got Halloween, and then you got Thanksgiving. Hello, and then Christmas. It was just such a cool boom, boom, boom. Of course, New Year's too. Yeah, man, and I just have so many great memories of my family around that time, that I mean, when I think about it, sometimes, especially now with mom being gone, I get teary-eyed. I'm not gonna lie, as I'm sure you do. I mean, even more so because you don't have either of your parents with you anymore, Bush.
yeah,
So
it's
it's gotta be hard for you, but
rough because you don't get those phone calls and such, but you motor through. I mean, frankly, this right here, as much as I hate the weather, I should really live in Australia because they're in full blown summer.
right, right.
It, man, this is my favorite time of year. Christmas is my favorite holiday. You know, I'll fight to get that day off from work. Um, I didn't have to. It
I,
was,
I don't normally, for one major reason. I don't have little ones of my own. If I had little ones of my own, it would be different, but I don't. So
oh,
it's
it
kind of
is,
like,
man.
and to be honest with you, Bushy, it's
Not
one.
about that for me. I like Christmas.
Well, I know you do, and I get that. So do I, but I work with a lot of moms, dude, and a lot of them are single moms, if you catch my drift. And it's
Right.
just one of those things where I'm like, you know what? As long as I can get Thanksgiving or New Year's off, I'm good, man. And to be honest with you, for me and my family, things just haven't been the same since mom died. We don't really celebrate the holidays like we used to. Um, but I'm trying to because I know she would want me to, So, us doing this, it's like I've even been watching Christmas movies and
Yeah.
I ain't going, and some of them make me a little teary-eyed because they remind me of her,
Well, I
because,
bet.
and we'll get into that. Like one of them's not on my list, but it's in my honorable mentions. And, she really liked that movie. Now, some of them that she really loves is on this list too. Don't get me wrong, because I've got some older movies on here. It's not all like newer stuff, or which some of it ain't new anyway. I mean, some of these films are, y- you know, 30 years old or whatever. I'm talking go further back than that.
Yeah, same, same.
So,
I
yeah, but
gotta
yeah, I
tell
mean,
you
I've
that
gotten, I'm,
I've been watching the Christmas movies. I have some 24/7 Christmas channels on, my internet cable here.
yeah,
And there's 8 or 9 channels that tend to stick with live action stuff. You might see the Polar Express or something in there. But then there's one channel called 24/7 Christmas Kids. So I switched to that because I got to know. And I've seen fucking Garfield Christmas. I've seen,
well, you don't like cartoons, I thought.
well, those get a pass. And I don't look, and I'm not saying it makes fucking sense.
You are you contrarian fuck. Bushy, you are a contrarian fuck, man. You contradict yourself
But
all the
I love them,
time. I love you. I'm like, make it make sense, brother.
but it's only at Christmas time, dude. It's not like I'm sitting down watching it all the time.
I'm not saying you are, but so you're giving it a pass because it's Christmas. Is that what you're saying? Just like some of those fucking Metallica tards give the shitty Metallica albums a pass because it's Metallica. Is that what you're telling me, dude?
I don't think it's much like that.
I think it is. I'm kind of calling you out.
I don't
Or
care.
how some people give, like you used to give Kiss a pass.
Yeah,
You even told me yourself that if I had told you all those years ago, which I always thought this album sucked, I always thought fucking
Unmasked.
Unmasked
I
sucked,
already know what you're talking about. Yeah.
and you'd have been like, oh, fuck you, huh? You'd have
Oh,
been that guy.
there's a time I couldn't find a bad song on that record, dude. I couldn't. I go back and listen to it nowadays, and I'm like, ooh, this is
Bad,
ooh. Now I probably
bad.
like more of it than I don't like still, but just overall as a whole, and the
I'm
fucking
not a fan,
the
dude.
pop
I've
fucking
tried,
bothers me.
especially like
And I
because
like Kiss Jovi, so what do I know?
and I mean, but I've got people that are Ace Frehley guys that go, "What about Torpedo Girl?" I'm like, it's a cool bass line, man, but it's kind of lame. I'm an Ace guy, and his songs don't do. The only song I really, really, really like on that album is "Naked City," the Gene song. I love that song,
That's a good one.
and I like "Shandy" for a ballad ain't bad, but that's about it, man. Like I don't like that record. I think Two Sides of the Coin sucks. I
Like
think fucking Torpedo Girl sucks. What was the other one? Talk to Me sucks.
I
Like
actually
I'm
don't
just
mind
like,
talk to me. That's I
but
hate
here's
that
the thing I
sort of
think with Ace, man, like people want to act like, and I remember Ken Mills saying that years ago on his podcast, which it sounds like he might be coming back to podcast. And I hope so, Podfather. We miss you and we love you.
yeah.
But he had said something about, because the narrative's always been like, well, Ace was lazy and Ace didn't do this. Well, y'all wanted to do a power pop record, and whether you like Unmasked or not, Ace delivered. He gave Gene and Paul what they wanted with those 3 songs. You,
Right.
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, I like "What Makes the World Go Round." I thought that was a good song. You know, I,
Yeah, okay.
I, I, I don't know what it is about it, but
Well, you don't have to apologize for it. You like what you like, dude. I mean, if
but the whole album, I mean, there's a lot that I don't like on it.
it's not a good record, dude.
Yeah,
I think as far as makeup era, it's their weakest album. Yes, folks, even weaker than The Elder. At least The Elder's got some cool riffs and shit. I don't really find too much about Unmasked where I'm like, yeah. Now, for all you Kiss guys who that was your first Kiss album, I understand. I get that. I do. It was your gateway. And because I think, again, timeline, we always talk about it all the time. And so do other of our podcasting brethren. We all say that, timeline is everything. And I really do think it is, like it
absolutely.
definitely is. I mean, it's important that you know, because I had to realize that, man, because I remember when I used to be so critical of the Black Album, then I would have younger, but well, you gotta understand, man, that was my first Metallica. I was how I got into it. I wouldn't even have listened to Master of Puppets or even known about it. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right, man. I need to quit being a dick. You know, because at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. And let's be honest, my opinion is in the minority when it comes to that fucking record. All
It's
right.
sold. I bought it. I owned it, and
Dude, it sold about a
it's
gazillion
not bad.
copies.
It's a lot of the songs that the diehards, they're like, man, first three albums and maybe that fourth, but fuck the Black Album. It's like, I get it. I dig Enter Sandman. I like the
I'm
Unforgiven.
sorry, my condolences.
But sad but true, man. I never liked it. I was like, this is just
You know
droning
what bothers me
on and
about that
on.
song? It's a great riff. The riff is amazing, but it's so. I said this on Ralph and Ian's podcast when we reviewed the record. It's fucking monotonous, man. It's like
Just drones
it
on.
never changes and it just goes on forever. Maybe if they'd have cut a few minutes off of it, it wouldn't have been so bad. But my God, I'm like, after a while, I'm like, okay, this is just boring the fuck out of me. I mean, that's my biggest problem, the Black Album. I understand why they simplified things, but they went too far. They went way too far with it.
There's still some good stuff on there, though.
No, there
A
is,
lot of good
Bushy.
deep
You
tracks.
gotta understand, 1991, Mike, I fucking hated it. I felt betrayed. I was like, this is what, oh, you know, it was like, the only thing I can equate it to is when I was 8 going on 9 and I heard Dynasty. When I heard I was made for loving you, for the first time, me and my brothers, my big brothers, but we about threw up in our mouth.
Right.
And you gotta understand why. At that point in time, disco was fucking everywhere. Kiss was our refuge from that. I listen to a lot of them disco songs, and I'm like, okay, you know, some of that stuff was like the Bee Gees, down to some that was good music. Again, you can't take an entire genre and just go, hey, it all sucks.
Yeah.
You
Although many
can't.
did
I
say
mean,
that.
huh?
Said although many did say that, D. Snyder.
Yes, they did. But as time went on, though, I think people look at disco a lot more favorably now than they did. I mean, obviously, people loved it. They sold a gazillion records. I'll tell you what happened with disco. Same thing happened with disco is what happened with glam metal and so many other genres and subgenres of music. It got they overdid it because that's what entertainment companies do. Well, if one's good, 100's better. And they process it and they water it down to the point where I'm sorry, but I love Donald Duck, but when you got Disco Duck, yeah, dude, you know, and that's what happened. It's the same thing with when you had the
Love that
early glam
song.
metal. When you had the first wave of glam metal, and then you get the second wave, and then and even then some of the second wave bands and again, this is from my perspective,
Yeah.
and then it goes even further where it became I mean, one of the things I always loved about early glam metal was I was like, wow, this is like the perfect mixture of it's poppy, but it's metal. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I love the Beatles and I love stuff like that. So I do like pop music. And I mean, even the Stones, yeah, it had some blues to it, but there were some poppy elements to their stuff too. So I'm like, okay, man, I see what Def Leppard's doing. I see what Motley Crue's doing. I see what, you know, especially like Too Fast for Love. I think Too Fast for Love it's a hard album and it's a heavy album, but there's definitely some songs on there. Got a little bit of glam rock, a little bit of pop to it, you know. Now
Oh
I
yeah.
think Shout at the Devil's almost pretty much a straight up traditional metal album. Probably why I love it as much as I do. But when you look at Dokken, they were another one. Rat. A lot of those early bands, it was a perfect mixture.
Yeah.
Where it got to the point where it was more about the look and less about and it was more poppy than metal that's when I started tuning out. And thank God I had thrash metal that came along, and thank God that I had bands like Tesla and Guns N' Roses that gave me that street level hard rock that I still crave. That yeah, I love thrash was all about it, Bushy, but when 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 glam metal or you know when I don't know what you even want to call it because to me Tesla in Guns N' Roses in many ways was almost a throwback to that 70s hard rock and metal that I loved as a child, as a little child. You know, I'm still at this point a teenager, so I'm in my adolescence, but you know what I'm trying to say, man. It was like I was craving that Aerosmith, Kiss, you know, raunchy rock,
Yeah.
AC/DC kind of stuff. And Tesla and Guns N' Roses provided that for me, So I was like, yeah, baby, yeah, you know. Of course, then when Guns N' Roses kind of became a bloated fucking joke of themselves and became just as fucking lame as a lot of the glam metal bands they were making fun of, um, then that was a whole other story. I mean, they did. They became the very thing that they said they hated.
Still so good. So
No, it's not that good, dude.
it's real good.
No, it's
Sure.
not. I mean, motherfucker, you like the spaghetti incident. I don't want to hear it.
I do. I also, you're talking about it off, Mike. I also like Nelson. So fuck yeah. We are here.
That's what happened to them sons. I used to think, how can the spawn of Ricky Nelson be so how do I put this? Homoerotic. Then I realized, oh my God, he died in a plane crash. He wasn't there to raise his sons to be men. And that's why they became what they became. It makes all the sense in the world to me now.
Here we go. I love that first album, man. It was
I'm sorry, but my condolences, dude.
great album.
Yeah, no.
But we're not here to talk about music. That was fun though. We haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
Just
But
rant.
that's okay. We still agree on stuff. We still love our Megadeth.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I've been getting Bushy into a lot of heavy stuff, man. He keeps going, hey, dude, you got this? You got that? And I'll be like, hey, try this on for size, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Stays on liquid metal most of the time in my car. Yeah, we're going to talk about our top 10 Christmas films, like we said, feature films that had to be in the theaters. That's
Yeah.
it's really
I
hard
mean,
to
after all, it is the season to be merry. Well, that's my name. Oh,
it,
shit.
it's tough to say that because I've got one in here that never went to the big screen. It was a Netflix release, but it was a movie.
That counts. That
Okay.
counts. In my opinion, that counts. Just because it was made for a streaming service, to me, it's still a movie.
Yeah.
If it don't have commercial breaks, if it's not like, look, guys, like I said, I love Charlie Brown Christmas. Okay, it's fucking family tradition at the Tyler household. We watch that every year.
Yes.
But guess what? It's not a Christmas movie.
No, that's a Christmas special.
Now there was some Charlie Brown movies that I remember. The one where they go to summer camp. Mark has it on, my twin brother has it on DVD or Blu-ray, but we went to the movies to see that. It's hilarious, man. So they did actually release some of the Peanut stuff in the movies. But and I don't know, incidentally, have you ever seen a Peanuts movie? It's really good if you haven't, dude.
That's the one that's like Toy Story graphics.
Yeah, it's computer animated. It's
Yeah,
fucking
I,
great.
I
It's a
actually
total,
watched
I
it,
mean,
thoroughly enjoyed it.
I loved it. And I'll tell you why.
I've seen
It
that
wasn't,
story before.
yeah, but
I mean,
what I loved about it was a love letter, not just to the old cartoons, but to the comic strip. Because his son, Charles Schultz's son, produced that movie, and that's what I loved about it. I'm like, because I used to read the comic strips as a kid,
every day,
loved them, thought they were
every day.
hilarious. My
Yeah,
dad he even got me the fucking compilations with all the where they would have like Peanuts Volume 1, 2. Like he bought them for me, and I would read them religiously and laugh my ass off. I mean,
that's
oh,
funny.
so funny.
I have over here. That fucker's heavier. I'd grab it for you real quick. The entire Calvin and Hobbes.
You plugged it on here
The
before. Yeah.
entire, every
That's awesome.
single strip.
That was a great comic strip
Yeah.
too, man.
Every strip from the very first to the very last Sunday comic.
When I was in the 80s and like 90s, Calvin Hobbes and Bloom County. Bloom County was great until the writer and artist had a plane crash, and then he kind of like lost his mind, and the strip got really weird and bizarre. But before that, Bloom County was hilarious with Opus the penguin and Bill
Yeah.
the cat, and
Yeah.
who looked like fucking Garfield but strung out on fucking methamphetamine or whatever. It was
Right.
hilarious, man. That was a great comic strip too. But
Oh yeah.
where the difference is Watterson, he was great all through his run. Gilbert or Berkeley breathed. Like I said, he just wasn't because apparently it was a really bad plane crash and it really traumatized him. And it just shows like it just got really weird and it wasn't funny anymore.
Right.
I don't know, man. It was just not. He just wasn't the same.
I've got an old collection of Bloom County comics in a
Oh,
bookstore.
I loved
Just a
Bloom
small
County,
one,
man.
but I got one. But yeah,
Billy and the Boiners, where
right. So how the hell do we get into comic strips now? Oh, because we
hey,
were talking about we're not doing Christmas specials. That's right.
right, right.
So we're doing our top 10 Christmas movies. Metal Mike, let's just get into it, man. Number 10
Okay, now are we going from 10 to 1?
to 1.
All right, man. My number 10 pick's a newer movie, but I love this movie on many different levels. It's got Vince Vaughn in it. It's got Paul Giamatti in it. It's just got a great cast. Fred Claus, somebody who's had, brothers and stuff. Uh, it's just it's funny. It's got everything. It's funny as far as a Christmas movie. I'm a big Vince Vaughn fan, and just the fact that you know it was one of them things where I mean it gets kind of deep, man. There's parts in that movie where again it got me in the feel, especially when him and Fred and Nick, as he calls him, get in a huge fight. I mean, they come to blows. It gets
Right.
ugly, man. And
Yeah.
when they're both just like passed out from exhaustion, not passed out, but they're just, and that's when Nick goes, "I never realized how much you really hated me."
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then he goes, I don't hate you, Nick. I just wish you'd never been born." And I'm like, I mean, for me, to say something like that to either one of my brothers would be fucking unthinkable. I mean, the Tyler family, we're dysfunctional and we have our differences and stuff, but we're there for each other when we,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
and
I like that movie, Giamatti. I love
I
him.
thought he made a great Santa Claus.
But his voice with Santa Claus, it both rubbed me the wrong way. It tickled me all the way down to the cockles of my
I
heart.
loved it. I thought he did a great,
It was,
especially he did that,
yeah, he was. I enjoy that movie. That's a good number 10. Didn't make my list.
yeah, it just,
I kind of forgot about it because it's also not an honorable mention. But
yeah,
great movie.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I really, really like, and the
I
fact
like
that
Vince
not
Vaughn
giving
too.
anything away, but Vince comes around, helps his little brother out.
Yeah,
It just kind of gets me in the feels,
yeah,
man.
it's
And that's
it's good
that's one of
stuff.
the things I tried to pick with these films is I tried to get movies that gave me an emotional reaction,
Sure.
uh, and that one definitely did, which I didn't expect. I think that's why I loved it as much as I did. Is like, because I'm telling you, man, that got me in the feels, man. I was just like, Fred, dude, that's your little brother, man.
Yeah.
Like, bro, quit being a dick. I understand, I get it because sometimes parents are hardest on the oldest child. It's just, and again, people have to understand with kids, and I'm smart enough to know this, even though I've never had children of my own. I did have stepkids. Your first kid, man, you're learning to be mom and dad. You're learning, and nobody gives you a fucking manual on what to do and what not to do. And sometimes, so by the time you've had your fucking however many kids, you're not as um hardcore, I guess. Uh,
Right.
but sometimes like in that movie, I'm sitting there going, man, mom, like let up on the guy. It's like because it's like Nick couldn't do nothing right, or not Nick. I mean,
Right.
Fred couldn't do nothing
Yeah.
right. And but I've seen it. I've seen parents like my mom and dad. They 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 always tried to treat us all equally. I mean, I'm not saying they succeeded, but I mean, that like my older brother, he got disciplined a lot. Now, some of that though, as he's gotten older and he realizes was on him because unlike Dave, and I love you, Scapegoat, but Dave always had to have the last word. That shit don't go well with parents.
That shit
And
pisses me off to no end.
right. And there would be, it was kind of like the Bill Cosby skit where Bill's like, please, please don't make me beat you tonight. And Dave's like, oh, thank you for your patience and understanding about this whole situation, but I can't go to bed unless I have a good beating. I mean, my
Yeah.
brother was almost like that. Like it was that bad. Like, and don't get me wrong, man, I got my ass beat plenty of
Yeah.
times.
I deserved every ass whooping I got.
Sure, but the thing was, is I had to tell my brother a while back because this was like when he was first seeing my sister-in-law, and he was like basically making out like, well, I got disciplined all the time, and Mike and Mark, and I'm like, now Marky, being the way he was, special needs.
Yeah,
My mom and dad didn't discipline him as much, and part of it was because they were afraid he wouldn't understand,
right.
you know. I mean, Mark, when he was really, really little, especially had a hard time distinguishing from right or wrong. Like, I remember he got us in trouble because he's my twin. I was at Kroger's, if you remember those places, Kroger store. And believe it or not, Kroger's, even though it was a grocery store, did have an album section. So me and my brother are checking out the albums and what we want to buy. And it was early 80s. So we're looking at Ozzy, we're looking at AC/DC, and all that good stuff. And these two girls come and go, we saw what you did. We saw you steal that food. And my brother and I, my older brother and I are just looking at him like, fuck, are you fucking retarded? Like what are you talking about? Saw me. Been here the whole time. Okay, bye-bye. Not putting two and two together.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, the manager starts yelling at us, threatening us and stuff. And of course, my big brother, well, fuck you, lady. And I'm like, this is a teenage kid. Dave couldn't have been even 15 at the time. Like he was just, and of course, mom hears us or hears him. We both get wrapped in the mouth, which I'm like, what the hell did I do? You know? But then when Mark realized,
Guilty by
so
association.
when Marky realized what was going on, he broke down crying. He was like going and just helping himself to the food there, Bushy.
Oh
Like
wow.
there'd be like Cool Whip. He'd just stick his hand in it and lick it and fucking getting candy. You know how you go with the places where you can get candy and put it
Yeah.
in a bag and wait? Yeah, he's just helping himself because he didn't know. He
Right.
really he didn't mean any harm, but he just thought, well, what's the big deal? It's there. I mean, I eat it, so it kind of caused us some problems, and I mean, obviously, eventually Mark figured out, oh, hey, I can't do that.
Right.
Uh, but and but it was just stuff like that. But where with me, man, when he made that error, I'm like, look, dude, the only reason why big brother, you don't remember my ass whippings as severely as I do is because they were my ass whippings. And incidentally, I'd say at least 90% of them was because of you talking me into some stupid shit.
Right.
Because you were my big brother and I looked up to you. I mean, I practically hero worshipped him. So it was like, oh, Dave thinks this is a good idea. Okay, I'm in, and then later I'm like, no, you know how it
Oh,
is.
sure, sure. I
Yeah.
was the
So,
oldest.
um,
So Fred
yeah,
Claus number 10. That's a good one. That's a good.
huh? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Fred Claus number 10.
Yeah. So yeah, that was basically like it just kind of brings back those kind of feelings, like
Right.
it's, I mean, if you're an only child, I don't know if you can really relate to it as much.
Right. Right.
you know because as much as and it's just funny because like with but I know that there's families out there where they have siblings that literally hate each other, and to me that's just unfathomable. I'm just like, that's your family, man.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess they always say too, I got lucky because you can pick your family but your friends, but you can't always pick your family. And
Right.
I always, like I said, we were crazy and we were dysfunctional, but when the shit hits the fan, we're there for each other. We love each other.
That's the way me and my sister are. We didn't get along great as teenagers at all. Uh,
Now, who's the oldest, Bush?
Me.
Oh, so you were the first child.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I took it, but she took it too. She'll swear that she got it worse than me, but whatever. I get called the prodigal son.
Mhm.
So I understand that. I don't think I could ever say I wish you'd never been born and shit like that.
No, that's what I'm
We talk,
saying.
we
Like,
talk every week now. She's coming down to help me celebrate my 50th. So
oh, awesome, dude.
yeah, she's coming
That's
down to
good.
cook
Yeah,
me
it's
my
hey, man.
school
Um,
birthday dinner and
yeah, and if
like,
my brothers are listening, I love you guys, man. I'm lucky, blessed to have both of you in my life, man. Especially considering Marky, because I almost lost him. It
right.
was touch and go for a while, and that was scary. I mean, I understand none of us are going to live forever, but I'm like, I ain't ready to live in this world without, especially my twin brother, man. I mean, he's like a part of me. So it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, I don't,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So,
All right.
yeah.
I'm going to move on to my number 10,
All right, let's do this.
1946. It's a Wonderful Life. Come on, dude.
Oh, beyond classic. I mean, just the quintessential Christmas movie. It is on my list.
Nice, nice. Oh, so even
Um,
higher than me. Man,
oh yeah.
what a great story. This guy, everything's going fucking bad, like bad.
And haven't we all been there though? Where like the part that gets to me the most, again, it's a movie that gets me in the feels, is because George's a good guy, man. He
Yeah.
doesn't deserve all this horrible shit happening to him. But it's when he's in and again, I can relate because I'm the same way. Like when he's in the bar, everybody's singing the Christmas carols, and he's just and they said that they had to like they didn't do a close up. What they did is they shot that from a distance and then like somehow was able to make it look like it was a close up. But
Huh.
he's just having a meltdown and he's just like, I'm not praying, man, Lord, you know, but if you're out there, show me the way, like please, and then of course he gets punched in the mouth. Something I can relate to because during the holidays, me and my this was after Christmas though. This was after New Year's. Me and my ex fiance had broken up,
Yeah.
and she really and we've mended fences. We're cool now. But at the time, it hurt because she they didn't call it this at that time, but she fucking ghosted me. Essentially, she just ghosted me, dude. It's like she
Right.
tells me she loves me on Christmas Eve, and I never hear from her again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, why? And it got ugly when I did finally confront her. And I don't think I would have ever really confronted her because I'm hardcore like that. I'll walk away because I have learned that if you really want to hurt a woman, that's the worst thing you can do is just don't even say anything. Don't even fight. Don't even, just walk away.
Yeah.
They can't stand that. They cannot stand to be ignored. They cannot stand indifference. But bitch had my fucking music. She had my Tool CDs and my Marilyn Manson stuff, and I wanted it back. Well,
Right.
she had a couple Crowbar stuff albums too. And I even told her because she at this time, this is how much this far back this goes. She had a pager, so I left a message for her and said, "Look, if you don't want to see me or talk to me, that's fucking fine, but I want my shit back." Now
Right.
you can either give it because we had mutual friends. I said you can give it to this guy who's a mutual friend, and he can give it to my brother, and you won't ever have to worry about me again. But I'm giving you a week's time. If I don't get my music back, I'm coming to get it. You have been forewarned. Well, bitch didn't listen. And I shouldn't call her a bitch anymore, but she didn't listen. And I went up to her job. Oh, yeah. Took my big brother with me too, just in case somebody got stupid or tried to call the cops or whatever. Because all I wanted was originally, it's all I wanted. I just wanted my music back.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening, man, was not to get into it, but, I got my music back. Things got ugly though, because she avoided me like the plague, which pissed me off even more. So by the time we did talk, I fucking just let her have it. I
Yeah.
mean, I devastated her. I really, at that point, I'm out for blood. I really want to hurt this girl. Flash forward a few weeks later, man, I'm just brokenhearted and depressed. And I'm going through nursing school when all this is going on, Bushy. So I've got to concentrate on that. I ain't got time to worry about chicks. And I mean, I've always had a thing about timing. My timing was impeccable. Yeah, getting a serious relationship as you're going to LPN school. Not the smartest move, but hey. Um, so what ended up happening though is I was kind of calling for help. Like, man, if you're out there, bro, I don't know what I'm to do here. I'm really depressed and I don't see, I mean, I'm doing in one of my blocks, or I'm doing a tenure in OB where I'm having to come into the hospital and work as a student nurse in the OB unit and see all these happy couples with their babies, and it's pissing me off.
Right.
I'm finding myself angry and resentful of them, which isn't cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, I kind of asked for help, right? And that very night, as I'm coming home, and I believe it or not, this is a painful thing, but I actually turned it into stand-up comedy. I get hit by a drunk snowmobile. Motherfucker just came out of nowhere and hit my car. And when I get out, I'm like, what the fuck? Him and his friends proceed to start a fight with me. There's four of them.
Oh shit.
And even though I held my own for a while, they proceeded to kick the fuck out of me. Like
Right.
literally. So now I felt like life was kicking me while I was down. So I totally relate to, even though George was being a complete dick to that dude's wife, and I understand why the dude fucking punched George.
Yep.
I also understand where George, you're asking for help, and what do you get? You get fucking. I literally got a steel toe boot to my face. That's
Right.
what I got,
Yeah.
and it was a really dark time in my life. So I didn't have an angel come and show me the way or anything like that. I just had to pick up myself. But still, it hit me. Even before that incident in my life happened to me, it hit me.
Yeah.
That movie hits you in the feels because it's like this poor guy, like he said, I'm at the end of my rope. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm going to do, man.
He's
And
about to jump off the bridge. He's done. He's out.
yeah, and Jimmy Stewart, I mean, what a tremendous actor anyway. I love him, man.
Absolutely.
He is a national treasure.
Yeah.
And and what's funny about that movie is, believe it or not, it was not a hit when it came out. Did you
No,
know
it
that?
wasn't. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was because of, again, people act like streaming like it's new. Guess what? Even when regular TV started, folks, they wanted content. They couldn't have live television shows 24/7. I think television gave a lot of these old movies, like It's a Wonderful Life and all the Bogart movies and all, they gave them new life. I don't know if some of the movies that became classics would be classics today without television. And A Wonderful Life is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
If they don't fucking, essentially, because the copyright run out, get that movie for free to where they can fucking show it whenever they want. We don't know about this film. It would have just been an obscure Christmas movie. And wouldn't that have been a fucking tragedy? Because this
Yeah.
movie,
It's
that movie is a masterpiece. And it's just, yeah, dude, the road and the fact that, yeah, like one man's life touches so many others. And it's just a well done, well acted. Um,
yeah, and what a great story. I mean,
Donna Reed's hot as hell. The chick who played Violet, hot as hell. You
but to
know,
be given that, you know, I wish I'd never been born. And the angel's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. You've never been
love
born.
it. Because first he's like, "Oh no, you shouldn't say that," but he's like, "Hey, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Okay, you got wish." And then of course the wind blows. You didn't have to make that big a fuss about it. I loved Clarence. He
Yeah.
was
Good
awesome.
stuff. Great movie.
Great stuff. Great
Great.
movie. Great pick, Bushy.
Thanks. Thanks. Number 9. What you got?
All right, this is a movie that's kind of like A Wonderful Life. A newer film made within the last 2 decades. Again, one of the where wish you weren't born. It's not that. It's more of the road not taken.
Yeah, I think
Like
I know where you're
there's
going.
a fork in this road. You could have went
I
this
think I
way.
know where you're
Instead, you went
going. And
that
I
way.
think it's one of my honorable mentions.
And then I love it. And it's The Family Man with Nicolas Cage and
Yes.
Tia Leone's fine ass, man.
Great.
Gotcha.
What a great movie.
Especially that part in the shower when she's standing. I'm like, oh, God,
Yeah.
I always thought she was so cute. But anyway, hold that thought, bro. I'm sorry. I gotta let the cat out. But yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
The Family Man, love it. Love it.
love it, love it. And I do kind of it's very, it's its own original story, but you can definitely tell. I think it was inspired by Frank Capra, because as great as A Wonderful Life is, check out some of Capra's other films. But it's very Capra-esque. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a movie that I think Frank Capra could have and would have made. Like it's
Yeah.
that good.
It's really good. And it's more of a romantic thing.
Yes,
Because it was the girlfriend that he never went to go see, and he just concentrated on work, and he's like uber successful but lonely as fuck.
yes,
It doesn't really realize he's lonely as fuck, and that's the
no.
twist on this one is
And Don Cheadle plays the angel
Don
that's
Cheadle,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
smart guy. Well, you brought this on yourself. So yeah, it's just a good movie. And then, yeah, yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, man, if you've never seen it. I love it. What's your number 9,
It,
brother?
it didn't make my list, but it is an honorable mention. It's in fact my first
Right,
honorable mention. That's great.
right on, right on. Yeah.
My number 9 again. We're sticking with the 40s, man. Miracle on 34th Street from 47. And I got to tell you, as a kid, I didn't necessarily enjoy watching it. It's something we watched every year because of my mom.
My mom loved it too.
But even back then, when Santa started talking to that little girl in her language, I believe it was Spanish. I was like, whoa, whoa. I was so blown away by that.
Well,
Now,
yeah, because
grown up, I thoroughly loved the whole thing, the whole metropolitan look. Uh,
yes,
it's interesting. I recently found this out. I never knew this. The whole Santa coming. in the parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They actually filmed that at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So
Oh, really?
people all around just kind of thought they were like news crews and such, but they were filming that Santa coming down at the
That's
parade.
really cool,
I
man.
never knew that till just like in the last couple weeks because I was
And that
reading.
was the Thanksgiving Day parade, right?
Yeah, because you got to remember it starts at Thanksgiving. The movie opened
Right.
the whole parade and everything.
Well, I mean, that was again every Thanksgiving. I would watch the Thanksgiving Day parade because I'd always be excited as a little fella, not
That's
just
true.
because Santa was going to be there at the end, but because
Favorite part.
they'd have the Spider-Man balloon and the Batman balloon and the super, and I'd be like, "Mommy, look, it's Spider-Man," because Spider-Man was like the end all be all to me
Right.
as a little child, and yeah, it was just so
For
so
me,
fucking cool.
for me, it was I knew at the end of that parade, the big guy was there.
Right,
Right
right.
then, I don't care that you haven't had your dinner yet. Most families eat what? Like noon, one, two.
Mhm.
Parade ends around 10, maybe noon. I don't
Yeah.
know. But Santa comes down. For me, that's officially Christmas season. And
Yep.
nobody
Yep.
can
That's
fuck
when
with it
Christmas starts,
because I'll
and
put up my tree before Halloween. I've done it before. This was up before Thanksgiving. I love Christmas that much. This is just such a happy movie. The whole trial, because the guy just he's Santa Claus, and no, you're full of shit. It's a great movie. I've always liked courtroom dramas anyway. I mean, A Few Good Men is one of my favorite films. Season 3 of Battlestar Galactica with Baltar's trial is my favorite sequence in the entire new series, Battlestar
oh man,
Galactica.
especially when again Apollo defends him and gives that impassioned speech, which everything he
Yeah,
says is absolutely true.
100% true.
And it's
Me,
funny that I was just reading about
1,500 other
Battlestar
people.
Galactica.
Forgive
I think that dude's performance as Baltar, like
I love.
because what a complicated character. He
Yeah,
is he evil? I don't think he really like,
he was good.
because if you remember, even in the first season where he's freaking out and everything's going on around him,
Yeah,
there's the blind lady and they got the lottery where people can leave or whatever. And he's thinking about, I'm like, oh, you're going to do it. You're going to take that poor blind lady's ticket and go
yeah.
on the ship, you
Well, I
piece
didn't
of
do
shit.
it.
And you think he's going to do it. And then he stops. He stops and he actually goes, hey, there's this little lady. She's got a ticket. Like he was going to stay, man.
I
I
love
thought,
that.
okay, well, this dude's
Favorite
not
show
so
ever.
bad after all. And then they're like, of course, they recognize him. Well, you're Dr. Gaius Baltar,
Yeah,
and they go, come with us anyway. So he ends up getting on the ship anyway and getting out of there. But he was going to do the right thing because it was like, he thought about it. And again, that's all a too human thing to not. Why wouldn't you be tempted to get
that
the fuck
particular
out of there?
character just does whatever he can to protect himself most of the time. Now there are other times where, especially as you
But
move
I don't think
here,
he wants anybody to get hurt. He never meant any harm.
yeah,
He
I don't
never
think
meant
so.
for any of that to happen. So he's thinking, oh my God, if they find out, they're gonna kill me. Because they're gonna think I did it on purpose. I didn't do
Yeah,
this like that's why he was so sympathetic. I mean,
yeah,
yes, he does a lot, but he also did kind things because, like I said, he could have taken that lady's ticket and just said, "Oh yeah,"
yeah.
but he couldn't. At the end of the day, he couldn't do it. He couldn't leave that poor little blind old lady. So he was like, "Hey guys,
Good
this is her
talk.
ticket. You
I
forgot one."
about this show
And
for hours. This
yeah,
is
and
bad.
as soon as they say that, they recognize him, and oh yeah, it's one of the best science fiction shows ever made, in my
I'm
opinion.
with Scott Ian of Anthrax. He used to do a webcast every week right after the show to discuss that current episode. And
Yeah.
with them 100%, this is the one thing I absolutely agree with Scott Ian on, and that is that Battlestar Galactica, the 2003 reboot series, is the greatest writing that's ever been on television.
Oh
Inside,
yeah. And what's funny, and it's probably why this particular start the guy, where those guys cut their teeth?
well,
Star
the producer was on the Next Generation. Yeah,
Yeah, but more
yeah,
importantly, they did Deep Space Nine, and I'm like,
yeah,
I knew it. I
yeah.
fucking knew it because out of all the Star Trek shows, I'm sorry, hands down, Deep Space Nine is the best. And part of the reason is because it's well written, and the fact that they didn't just do, I mean, obviously with the original Star Trek, everything's in chronological order and it all, but they would usually do a maybe two-part episode, and then that story would be over, and then you'd see everything back. The bridge would be back. Deep Space Nine wasn't like that. It was a continuous story, much like Battlestar Galactica, where the events led into the next, and it was just so well done. It's still my favorite Star Trek
I
series.
have such a hard time with that one. I've tried to watch through the series several
The,
times.
the first few seasons are kind of but it dude, Bushy. I'm telling you, man.
That's what I've been told. I've been told that once Hawk grows his goatee and shaves his,
Yep.
it becomes
Yep.
their show,
Yep. Dude, I'm telling you, you know what? Fucking skip all that shit if you've already seen it and just go to the good stuff.
right? Well, maybe I'll
I
try.
mean, because I think you would like it, dude. I'm telling you, because Cisco is a bad motherfucker, dude. Like
That's what I
the
keep
mother.
hearing. He seemed like such a soft pussy running his little space
No,
station with
no,
going
dude.
anywhere.
But
It's
then you got to
so,
understand his experiences and the things he's went through hardened him too,
yeah.
and I mean, shit just gets really like once they introduce the Dominion, once you find out what's on the other side of that wormhole, that's when the series takes off. It really does.
I'm going to go back and watch it. I
Yeah,
already know that.
yeah.
So
All
yeah,
right.
for me, Miracle on 34th Street, Stone Cold classic. Uh, number 8.
Number eight, another older movie. It's about a guy, and he's a bachelor, and he's actually an insurance worker by the name of C.C. Baxter, and he lends his Upper West Side apartment to company bosses to use for extramarital affairs. So basically, he would literally almost like let these guys, you know, basically bang their mistresses at his place, and
That's
he would go find something to do at the night. Well, he was doing it because they kept giving him promotions and and stuff, right? So yeah, it's kind of like weird when his manager, Mr. Sheldrake, begins using Baxter's apartment in exchange for promoting him. Baxter is disappointed to learn that Sheldrake's mistress is Fran Kubelik, the elevator girl at work whom Baxter is infatuated in himself. Soon, Baxter must decide between the girl he loves and the advancement of his career. It's got Jack Lemmon, who I absolutely love, Shirley MacLaine in her prime,
nice.
and Fred McMurray, from My Three Sons
Yeah.
and so many other great
He was
movies.
selling me a
Double
shit.
Indemnity. Double Indemnity. I'm telling you, dude, it is a great movie. It is a great, great movie. Um, you know, you got to watch it if you've never seen it.
Double indemnity.
Oh, Double Indemnity is great. That's a film noir. This movie is called The Apartment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never seen this one. I've never watched it. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a black and white film. Billy Wilder directed it. If you know who he is, I think he's the guy who did like Some Like It Hot and
Right.
yeah, it's really, really good, dude. I think if you're a fan of any of those actors, especially Jack Lemmon, I
Jack
mean,
Lemmon. I love that dude.
and like I said, it's literally Shirley MacLaine in her like when she was just at her cutest. So
Uh,
very, very good movie. I really, really like it, and I think you'd like it too.
sweet, sweet. The apartment. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
How
It's
about
on, I think, Amazon Prime. You can watch it for free right now there. I
oh
would recommend it, especially if you love Christmas movies.
yeah, yeah. Especially when I'm about to give you my number 8 because it's silly as fuck, but
Okay.
I think it was so well done. Now, it's one of my all-time favorite Christmas specials,
Oh,
but I think Jim Carrey did a killer fucking job. I thought it was an extremely fun movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas from 2000.
you know
That
what's funny?
dude
You know who
was,
plays Cindy Lou Who?
yeah, Taylor Momsen of the Pretty Reckless.
Isn't that crazy?
Wild,
Yeah.
man.
Little girl's from St. Louis too, man. She's from my neck of the woods. Good
Sweet.
on her. Yeah.
Hell
Well, I
yeah.
remember because, dude, she was all over the news here. Like she was on papers and local St. Louis girls going to be in the new Grinch movie, and they showed her with the little crazy hair. I mean,
Right.
I thought they did such a beautiful job bringing that world, Dr. Seuss's world, to life.
Yes.
Um, And yeah, Jim Carrey did an amazing job. It's not on my list, but it's definitely on my honorable mentions, dude.
It's one of
And and,
those. I
and
look at these as these are the movies that I absolutely watch every year. So
right.
I spend a
Yes.
lot of damn time in front of the
These
TV.
are movies that I fucking are kind of a tradition for me.
Yeah,
And the thing was with how the Grinch Stole Christmas, I also love it because when I was a little boy, believe it or not, I loved the cartoon that Boris Karloff narrated back in the day, which again was always an annual Christmas tradition.
my favorite of the animated Christmas specials.
But I had my mom bought me from school. I was in kindergarten, and you know how, I think it was Scholastic or something. They would give you this order form, and you'd take it home, and your mom may or may not buy you something. You give it to the teacher, and then they mail it to the school, and they
Right.
have this huge package, and it was the book How the Grinch Stole Christmas with a record, and the record was Zero Mostel of the producers and reading it.
Oh
And
wow.
so I would read the book and listen to Zero tell the story, which was totally different from the way Boris Karloff did it in the cartoon.
Right.
But I loved it. That was when I fell in love with the Grinch. I fell in love with that story. Obviously, even as a little fella, I kind of saw the parallels between the Grinch and Ebenezer Scrooge.
Right.
But I just loved it, man. And then when I found out there was oh my God, there's a cartoon. And I was so excited. And I remember loving the cartoon too, but I was kind of like put off that the guy narrating it wasn't Zero Mostel, but my dad's like, yeah, son, but that's Boris Karloff. That's Frankenstein. I'm like, oh, that's who that's near. Oh, okay. Because I mean, Boris Karloff had a beautiful voice, man.
Right.
Where Zero had a great voice, but Zero's version was more comedic,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, very like the Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas scene. Very, like overdone, but just fucking hilarious, man. And I still have fond memories of that to this day. So you would think The Grinch would be on my list, and it is a great movie. I mean, I went to the theater to see that with my family and laughed. Me and my dad laughed so hard
So fun.
we cried,
Yeah.
especially the part where they're feeding him and he's all like,
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously they took that short story and expanded it, but they did a great job,
Did
man.
a real good job. Made it
Ron
completely.
Howard, right?
Yeah. And
Sometimes I forget just how great of a director Ron Howard is,
exactly. But it's like, I mean, they took this story that from a 30-minute special, most people. Some of us have read the Dr. Seuss book, but
which is like this thick.
yeah,
Literally, it's like,
it's like
it takes
20, 30
10 minutes.
pages.
Yeah, it takes maybe 5 minutes to fucking read,
It's no longer than, Cat in the Hat or Green Eggs and Ham or any of
which
that.
I love those too.
Same. but, but I mean, they did a really good job. They told a story that made sense. And at the same time, it still hit all the things that you know.
Yes.
Every single thing you know is there. The only thing that ever kind of fucks me up is the very end when they're talking about him carving the roast beast in there in his cave up on the mountain instead of down in the big dining hall. That's always kind of messed with me.
Yeah, because that's not the way the book ends. It ends
No,
with him,
he's with them.
he himself
Yeah,
carved the roast beef.
right. But other than that, one little misstep, and I don't know if it's really a misstep.
Right.
I watch it every year.
Yeah, it's great.
Number 7.
All right, man. My number 7 is a newer film, probably within the last 20 years. Very adult, very raunchy, but God, is it so funny. And again, I love this movie because even though he starts out as pretty much a deplorable fuck, by the end of the movie, he does change. And that's Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton. I absolutely
Uh,
adore this
don't like
movie.
the second one.
I've never seen the second one. I refuse to watch it.
Not that good. I mean, it's got its
Um,
moments, but it's not that good. But that man, Bad Santa, what a I love,
and everybody in it was hilarious. John Ritter was great.
yes.
Bernie Mac was great. The little guy, I can't remember his name. The
Remember his name,
midget
but
dude.
he was in he was
Friday.
in Irene.
Yeah, he was also in Friday too.
Yeah, yeah.
Funny, very funny guy.
Oh,
Um,
she's gonna eat blubber right after she frees Willie.
you're right. But I just love it. I loved everything about it. And the fact that like, you know, when he tries to double cross him, Billy Bob's like, you people are monsters. And he's like, I take no joy in this. Cause it's not like, hey, I really want to kill it. Like I take no, but it's like, dude, it's just, I can't deal with your shit anymore.
Right.
And, and then he's all like, I get that. I get you wanting to take me out. That I understand. But how much shit do you and your old lady really need, man? Like, and the fact that, like, I don't know, the fact that he helped the kid out and gave the kid confidence and taught him that, hey, you got to stand up for yourself. And, yeah, it was just a really, really cool movie. That it is a sweet movie, even though it's vulgar
Vulgar,
and
raunchy as
and the
hell.
chick who plays his girlfriend, Lauren Graham from what was that show? Gilmore Girls. Oh my God. There's a girlfriend of mine, a friend of mine named Trish, who she looks like Lauren Graham if Lauren Graham had red hair. They
Nice.
look a lot alike, man. If I showed you some pictures of Trisha, you'd go, holy shit.
Nice.
And it just so anytime I ever see Trish, I always go, fuck me, Santa, fuck me, Santa. And she'll just go, shut up. But yeah, just a great movie. Again went to the theater to see it. I think I went to see it twice because it was just hilarious. Loved it. I'm a huge Billy Bob Thornton fan, because of things like Sling Blade. And
Yes.
yeah, great actor. And yeah, man, that's my number seven. What's yours,
Love
brother?
it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Didn't make my list, but is an honorable mention.
Right on.
My number seven, I guess I like Jim Carrey, man, but when you watch this, is probably the closest interpretation I've ever seen on screen of this
Oh
beloved
yeah.
book. And that's Disney's version of A Christmas Carol, where they did all the, they were doing all they were filming him because he acted out
Stop.
that
It's like what do they call that? It's stop motion, but not well, it ain't stop motion, but it's
book.
very similar to the way Ralph Bakshi made his animated films, like Wizards, and where they had actors and then they would draw over the actors.
Yeah, this was all
With this though,
computer.
it's computer.
Yeah.
It was the same way that oh, what's that movie with from based on the Beowulf. Beowulf was done the same way.
This was
Um,
done a lot better though.
yeah, but
What's
um,
fun? I actually have the Blu-ray version of this particular film.
that is really well done though. They did a great job, and like you said, it's almost like seeing the because all the versions of Christmas Carol they pretty much keep to the story,
Mhm.
but that one's very very faithful to the Charles Dickens story.
It's amazing, and on the Blu-ray I have, I can watch the movie, and then in the bottom right corner of my TV, I can watch the movie without all the computer effects. As Jim Carrey,
Right,
and Gary Oldman, and these guys, they're acting all the movements,
right.
everything you see, they're doing on a soundstage.
Yes, yes.
Oh, it's amazing. It's not my favorite, but boy, it's one of my
Well, and that
favorite.
technology is what gave way to like, and I know some people want to bemoan CGI, and I get it. Sometimes some of these movies go a little too far with it. There's things that I think they make CGI to where I'm going, is that really necessary?
Right.
At the same time, a lot of those movies, believe it or not, still use some practical effects. It's not all CGI.
Yeah.
The thing that amazes me when I see them make any of these movies, I'm talking about Avengers and stuff like that, is it's so seamless you can't tell. And that's like, well, that's when they did their job. Like there's some parts of the Iron Man armor where it's not CGI. That's Robert Downey Jr. in the suit. So not all of it's, a lot of people just assume everything's no, it's not.
Right.
But because of that, because of the Hulk, they have the
It,
actors do the
this ain't
movement.
no fucking Green Lantern.
Yeah, right. Which great character, but my God, did they fuck that movie up? But that's a whole other thing. I don't even want to go into that vortex. But I am intrigued by that series though, Lanterns that they're doing on Max.
Same.
That looks like it might be pretty. It sounds really cool. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
Okay, but
shall
anyway,
see.
with all that aside, but it was stuff like that that gave birth to that, where literally the dude who plays the Hulk, he's moving around with all the other actors, he's doing his Hulk thing, and then later they make it, it's pretty crazy how they do it. And that's what they did with A Christmas Carol, and they did a beautiful job, man. Like,
Yeah, it's absolutely my favorite and fantastic cast.
oh yeah, it was great. It's great. It's one of the best versions. Honorable mention, but you know, I I've got the same story, but I actually got two.
It-
And,
uh,
and part of the reason is I got those two, and I got so you can call it a tie or whatever, but to me it's the same fucking story. So whatever. But it's my two favorite versions. The Jim Carrey would be my third.
nice.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but Bush, I'm talking like a pubic hair's
Yeah.
difference, you know.
Oh no,
I
because
think the
it's
only reason why I'm picking the other two is because of childhood.
sure.
You know, I mean, I'm sure there's people younger than me. That Jim Carrey movie is probably their Christmas Carol, and I can't say as I would blame them because they did. Robert Zemeckis did an amazing job, man. What another brilliant director.
Yeah. Great, great movie. It's become an annual watch for me. Uh,
Yeah,
Number six, buddy.
Home Alone. I mean, it's just again, John Hughes at his top of his game. Chris Columbus is the director.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I'm a huge John Hughes fan. Love his work. I mean, not just his teenage movies. I mean, yes, I love 16 Candles and Breakfast Club and all that. Again, I think it must be a timeline thing because I know our good friend Dr. Fuck does
I know
not
Dr.
appreciate
Fuck
those
don't like
films.
it.
But I also think what made John great was how he was able to write not just teenagers, but young people like this. I mean, Macaulay Culkin's character, he's the Kevin, he's just a kid, but it's like John never forgot what it felt like to be a kid or a teenager. And even with his other movies, which I've got another movie of his kind of that he wrote that's on this list. John, because all of the vacation movies and just, I mean, the guy was, I mean, dude, not a Christmas movie, but it's one of those ones where you can it's Thanksgiving movie and you can definitely watch it during the holidays too. And of course, that's trains, planes, and automobiles, because he's trying to get home during Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that and I adore that film too. I think John Candy. It's a shame that he died when he did because I don't think he showed us everything he was capable of. Not only was he an incredibly funny man, but again, John was one of those guys, and that's what I'm saying, man. Most clowns can make you cry.
Yeah.
And John was one of those guys. Like in that scene, and I don't mean to get off on Home Alone, but that scene where Steve confronts him, like, "What are you still doing here? Why aren't you home?"
And
And
he,
my dad, he always figures shit out. He figured it out. He figured out that John was homeless.
yeah.
And again, when you look, the clues were there. I mean,
Yeah.
even when, Steve Martin pieced this all together, I'm like, oh my God, of course. But you got
Yeah.
to understand, my dad was a guy who he wasn't 100% sure, but he was strongly sus. He was very suspicious that Luke's father was Darth Vader. He was throwing that theory out before Empire Strikes Back came.
That's crazy.
I know. And I'm like, what? I'm like, And he's like, think about it. And he said, he goes, oh, him and Obi-Wan, best friends, is his ally. And then and next thing you know, oh, he's the best star pilot in the galaxy. Next thing you know, you see Darth Vader just shooting X-Wing fighters left and right. And there was just certain things, certain clues. The way that Lucas had Obi-Wan pause before he tells Luke, it just made that he thought he wasn't 100% sure, but he was like, I could maybe see Lucas going in that direction. Of course, then he's like, well, son, you have to understand. You've read as many science fiction and fantasy stories as I have, I've been more like I've been around the block, boy.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
dude, he did the same thing to my mom though, but he did that in the middle of the movie when they went to the Fox Theater to see Planet of the Apes.
Nice.
Uh Halfway through. Movie ain't even fucking halfway through. Dad nudges my mom. He goes, honey, they're back on Earth.
Right.
Gene, you asshole. And sure enough, man, especially when it coming out, he's like, and he was like, I'm so brilliant. So, that's my dad, man. But yeah, Home Alone, man. I mean, it's just one of those, and it's funny because it's a movie that I didn't go to see right away. Because when I first saw the previews, I'm like, okay, well, it looks cool, but it's very slapsticky, kind of like a Tom and Jerry cartoon brought to life. I don't know. But I went to see it. I finally went to see it. And I just remember walking out the theater going, holy shit, no wonder everybody loved this movie so
Yeah.
much because it's just so it had everything in it. And I mean, Joe Pesci and the late great Daniel Stern were great in it. It's just a really, really cool movie, man.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I actually have that on my list. It's a little bit higher up, of course, but
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
My number six. It's newer, man. It's newer. Came out 2018.
Okay.
Features the great. Well, before we get to that, when I started watching it, I just remember that it was the new husband or the boyfriend, whatever he was, in the show Rules of Engagement.
Okay.
He was the goofy guy, not David Spade, and obviously not David Putty. I know his name's not David Putty. That's who we played in Seinfeld, but I can't remember his fucking name to save my life.
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, Warburton.
Love that guy. He's great.
They were all in this.
And
So
that show was a funny fucking show, man.
goofy fiance there, with the smoking hot girl. Well, he's the dad starting out in this movie. Then all of a sudden there's no dad anymore, and it's all sad. And Kurt Russell shows up as fucking Santa Claus. He's one of my favorite Santa Clauses of all time. So yeah, fucking 2018 Christmas Chronicles. It's become an every year thing. The second one, I like it. I don't like it as much as the first one, but it's still a quality movie. You have a little more Goldie Hawn in the second one. You don't see her a whole lot in this first one. These two little kids trying to help Santa get his reindeer back and his sleigh because shit's all haywire. It's fucking fun. It's just a fun movie. Kurt Russell makes a great Santa Claus. He doesn't do the ho 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 thing, and he tells you he doesn't. He's like, yeah, that's not really my. It's great. I love it. It's become a tradition ever since that son of a bitch came out. Great movie. Plus, it's Santa Claus. Come on,
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
number
Oh, good choice. Good choice, man. Again, my honorable mentions.
nice.
Um, um, and yeah, I really like that show, Rules of Engagement. I love the play on words, like Rules of Engagement, you think war, but
Yeah,
yeah. And Patrick was hilarious, and his old lady, oof, I think she's a cutie. Megan Price,
yeah,
total fucking not like super. So all of the types of chicks I go for, I go for what I call the super cute ones.
right.
I had the biggest crush on her, man. I mean, the rest, the other girl in the cast was hot too, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something about her
I
where I was
like
like,
my favorite part of that show was actually David Spade and his Indian assistant.
yes, he was great too.
So fucking funny, good stuff. But yeah, that was my number six. What's your number five?
All right, man. My number five is this is an older film. Again, my mom turned me on to this. I'd watched it with her when I was a kid, and that's The Bishop's Wife with Cary Grant,
I've
um,
seen this one.
David Niven, and oh, what's her name? Really pretty woman, man. She had a love child with Clark Gable back in the day.
Greta Garbo.
Nope, nope. Loretta Young, I think is her name, but I'm going to look it up just to make sure. Yeah. It was 1947. Yeah, Loretta Young. And it's a really, really cool movie. Uh, just to give you a synopsis of the film since you're not familiar with it. Dejected by his efforts to raise money to build a cathedral, Bishop Henry Brom, David Niven, beseeches heaven for guidance and is visited immediately by Dudley Cary Grant, who claims to be an angel. Henry is skeptical, then annoyed when Dudley ingratiates himself into the household as his assistant, and worse, wins the attentions of Henry's long-suffering and kindly wife, Loretta Young. When Dudley continues to intervene in Henry's struggles, the bishop decides to challenge heaven. It's a really good movie, dude. Um, if you get a chance to check it out, that's on Amazon. You can watch it for free, black and white. Um, I mean, Carrie was just perfect as an angel because he'll like do shit to fuck with David Niven. Like anytime he about gives it away that he's going to be an angel, he'll make him like, he'll make him like stutter or, he'll do something to him. Like they're in this cab and he goes, well, I figured you don't need money. What with being an boom, and they hit a, like a pothole and and just shit like that. And he's always like, just fucking with him, and not just him, other people too, but not in a mean way. I mean,
Right.
he's an angel. He's very kind, but yeah, and there's actually a remake of it with Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston called The Preacher's Wife.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
not heard of that one.
yeah, but it's basically the same premise. Um, he's just obsessed with getting this cathedral built, and um, Dudley kind of shows. him the way. But it's just a very, very well done movie.
Nice.
Um, I mean, it's Cary Grant, so you know how suave and sophisticated he is. And he is kind of believable as an angel because he's just really charming and funny. And, everybody in the household, even the staff just love him to death. Oh, Dudley, everybody likes Dudley. He's just a really likable guy, man. And he doesn't just help the bishop, he helps other people out too that are kind of struggling with their life or whatever. And you need to check it out, dude. I think you'd like it.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
My
So
number
that's my number
five,
five.
uh,
And
look,
whenever I watch it, I always think of my mom. So,
nice. Yeah, my number five, this should be predictable for me. Santa, not no number five, the Santa Claus from '94, Tim Allen.
honorable mention. Yeah.
What a great take on the Santa Claus mythology, where it's not just the same old dude for years and years and years. The suit gets passed on to somebody, and the magic just takes over. I love it. I love the fact that it pisses me off so bad with the mom and the stepdad taking the kid away because they think he's losing his mind from spending too much time. And it's a really, really great fun movie. And man, the makeup job and fat suit they put on Tim Allen, that dude had a sparkle in his eye. That
He
was
was great. He did a great job. Tim Allen. I love Tim Allen, man. Great stand-up comedian and just really doesn't get enough credit for his acting.
uh-uh.
Like I thought he was great in what's that movie? I'm drawing a blank now. The science fiction film that's a spoof where he's the star of a very much like a Star Trek show.
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, just realize Galaxy Quest. Love that movie, man. And not just him. I thought Alan Rickman was great too. Oh, so you found a way to get your shirt off again.
Right.
It was just fucking great, man. That's a good movie too. I really, really like that movie.
Uh,
Um,
I,
yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's just
I always hoped they would do another one, but they never did.
I know it's wild. But no, that
Great pick, man. Great pick,
the
dude.
Santa Claus, I wasn't quite as big a fan of the other two, but that first one, that's always going to hold a spot, man. I've been watching that one for years.
Yes. All right.
Years. All right, number four.
Number four, two movies, same story. I already said that the one you mentioned earlier was my third, like by a pubic hair.
Right.
There was these two, and that's why I had to pick both of them because I can't really pick either one over the other. Scrooge, the 1951 version with Alistair Sim, and the 1970 musical with Albert Finney. I love these movies. I think they're fantastic. I think as far as live action, the best version of that story. Both of them are just fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Alec in the 1970 version. You got Alec Guinness. Obi-Wan Kenobi is Marley, and the way they did the special effects. It's 1970. They did it all where they obviously filmed it backwards, but he's all fucking walking like he's like walking on air and shit. And when he tells him to sit down, he just sits down and there's no chair and just so fucking cool, man. The songs, it's weird. I'm not, I guess I'm a guy who's in the middle. I don't hate musicals, but I don't love every musical I come across
Right.
either. You know what I mean? But when they're really well done, like Little Shop of Horrors or Phantom of the Opera, I'm like, okay, that's a good fucking musical. And
Right.
I feel that way about the 1970s version of Scrooge. I mean, the fact that they got, again, just like with the 1951, they got an actor who played both the younger and older version of his characters. I liked that. It
Yeah.
made it more believable. And the makeup that they did on both guys was just tremendous. And the fact that you find out more about because one of the things I loved about the Alistair Smith one, especially, is when they go back to Christmas past, they don't just go back to his childhood. They don't just go back to his origins as a businessman. They go back to when his nephew was born and his sister literally dies giving birth to him. And because he's so angry and pissed off and upset that his sister's dying, he just storms out and he doesn't hear her basically beg him, Ebenezer, please take care of my baby. Please look out for my boy. And he's just standing there realizing that he's let his fucking sister down.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Fran. I'm sorry. He's just fucking breaking down, man. I mean, it just pulls. It's like you can't. Even though the guy became a fucking prick. I mean, Scrooge was a miserable piece of shit, and he wasn't happy unless he was making everybody else miserable
Yeah.
around him. Because that's the way people like that are. They're just so fucking miserable that they're going to make you miserable too.
Yeah.
And
Everyone joined a club.
that's what's great about the Charles Dickens in this story, who, by the way, I think is one of the greatest writers to ever live. I mean, if you read any of his other stories, Great Expectations, Nicholas Nickleby, he's fucking amazing. Um, it's never too late to change. I mean, that's the whole premise of Scrooge. Even the Grinch, like it's never too late to change. Like, and just it's just a beautiful story. The fact that Marley was a good friend because he had to pull a lot of strings to do all that for him, like, and that's one of my favorite parts at the end. He's like, I don't know if it was a dream or you really did come to me, but I think between the both of us, Jacob, we finally had a Merry Christmas.
Right.
Like, and he's like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go now and have dinner with my family. And it's just such a beautiful story anyway. I mean, I even like I've pretty much like just about every version of a Christmas Carol I've seen. I even like Mickey's Christmas Carol. So it's just a great story. But to me, again, my childhood, I grew up watching these movies with my family, so it has a lot of sentimental value to me too, man. And like the one part in the 1970 when he sees himself and his fiance's leaving him, and he just yells at her, "You fool!" And then he's realizing he's literally yelling at himself, and then he just does that song where he's like, "I let you go away," and all that. And he's singing about, that basically she was his only hope. And then he just goes, Spirit, remove me from this place. I can bear it no more. And then when it goes back to his room, he's just bawling like a baby. It was the one moment that's even in the book where that shit got to him.
Yeah.
That was the crack in the wall right there. That was when he started. That shit got to him, man, because he probably, I mean, he obviously he remembered, but I think a lot of it he just buried. It was like, oh, I was just a dumb,
Yeah.
kid, and it didn't matter. But when you're slapped, it's hard sometimes facing your past, but to face it like that, when you're literally slapped in the fucking face with it,
Yeah.
you're seeing your past as as it's, as if you were there, only they cannot see you.
Yeah. You're
What a
witnessing all
mind
that.
fuck that is. I
Yeah.
mean, if that don't, and seeing all the mistakes you've made, because I think all of us, even people who, I mean, I think I'm a pretty good person. There's things I've done where I'm like, man, I wish I could take that back, or and to have to experience that again, but not experience it as if I did it, but to watch myself do that shit
Yeah.
would be very, very hard for me. It would
Yeah.
be
And
very
you can't
difficult.
intervene because that's all you want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's the whole point. He's yelling at himself, and it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter because you can't change shit. Of course, it didn't matter anyway because they had it to where even in the present and the future, nobody could hear it.
Yeah.
And I also love the part, one of my favorite songs in that 1970 version is when they do the whole "Thank you very much, thank you very much," and he doesn't realize they're talking about him dying. Like,
Yeah.
thanks for croaking, dude, because we don't owe you money anymore. Yeah, and they're all celebrating. He thinks they're celebrating him. That he's a great guy, and it's like, no, dude, they're celebrating your death. It's
Yeah.
really a fucking head fry, and it was just so well done. Like I said, those movies were well done, but the story itself, I mean, Charles Dickens, what a genius, man.
Oh yeah. Even though he struggled to write this book, and
Yeah, he did.
frankly, he had to write it because he was failing. He self-published it. It was, I mean, pretty.
Was this the movie? Was this the story that put him on the map, or was he already a famous author? Was he
He
having
was
writer's block, or
he
what was
was
going on?
already an author, but whatever he had put out before this was tripe.
Hmm.
It was
I didn't.
garbage. So he was,
So really, A Christmas Carol was his big break.
yeah,
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
brought him back in into,
Because I mean, bro, he was like, I mean, dude, he's had a lot. Tale of Two
yeah,
Cities, and Nicholas
yeah.
Nickleby.
And I know for a fact A Tale of Two Cities was before uh, A Christmas Carol. I'm not sure what else was before because whatever his book was before that one.
Great Expectations,
Yeah.
man. Um,
He's great.
Oliver Twist. I mean, those are all great stories, man. And the guy was a hell of a storyteller. I
Absolutely.
think it bothered him in a way because I think most modern people now, when they think of Charles Dickens, they always think of A Christmas Carol, and it's like the man wrote so much more than that. But I mean, I recognize his other work. Like I said, I don't think the man ever did a bad story,
Right.
personally, that I've read. I've never
Some
been
of them
like,
are tougher to read. Some of them are thick as fuck. I mean, you gotta definitely be a reader. If you're
oh
not a
yeah, yeah. I
not
mean,
looking through
well,
them.
my favorite story of his, probably besides Christmas Carol, is Great Expectations.
Yeah.
I've always loved that story. I read it, but again, it was required reading in school, and that's how I got turned on to it. And I really, really got into that story. But I mean, yeah, he's a great storyteller. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah. Number four. Oh no, you just told me.
Yeah, you're number four, my
Yeah.
friend.
I'm sticking with the same theme. This is my favorite. Santa Claus is my man. Santa Claus the movie, 1985, with Dudley Moore
Holy
playing the
shit, I
elf.
forgot about that movie.
Oh
That's a great one. Okay, I'm writing that down for my honorable mentions right now.
yeah, hell yeah. That's
Underrated movie. I mean, you got John
elf
Lithgow
trying to
as the evil.
modernize everything and fucking Santa
Yeah.
having it, so he bails.
Yeah.
So John Lithgow and his evil toy company. It's
Yeah. And the fact that when he goes and works for him, and that one part that makes me sad is when Santa just sees the TV and goes, well, at least he's happy.
yeah,
and, he, and it's not like Dudley Moore did it to hurt him. He just felt like Santa didn't want him anymore. I mean, it was really sad in a way because really it was just in my opinion, a communication problem. It was
right.
like, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes friends have miscommunications and they just fucking. But I mean, obviously everything works out in the end, you
Yeah,
know. But yeah, man, you could just tell because I think out of all the elves, he was Santa's favorite.
yeah.
Not that Santa ever played favorites, but
Right. That's the impression I got too.
and when he's telling all his reindeer, if you love him as much as he loves you,
Yeah,
and they're all they're all wore out, man, but they do it. That's a good one, man. Santa Claus the movie.
yeah, hell yeah. That's a great one. 85. You're number three.
All right, man. I had to write that down because yeah, fuck, man, that's a good one. I'd forgotten about that. That's a really good movie, man. I watched the shit out of that when it came out on cable as a kid. I mean, they played it like all the time.
Yeah, we used to have the VHS before it
All
came.
right, number three, man. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I watch this every fucking year. I love it. It's actually my favorite. I even like it better than the original Vacation. The original Vacation is amazing, but I adore this movie, man. Everything about it, and I always. It's like kind of like my comfort Christmas movie. Even the theme music. It's like every time I think about it, I think of the holidays, and I absolutely love it. It's so funny. I mean, everybody in the cast is amazing, and I was a guy that had a major crush on Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Thought she was so fucking cute, man. And I've always thought her and the chemistry her and Chevy had were great too, man. Um, it's just so when Clark has his meltdowns, it's just so hilarious, man. I mean, there's just so many great, funny lines. I mean, like I said in the beginning, Merry Christmas, share was full. That should have gave you a clue that was going to be high on my list, man.
Or-
I mean, because Randy Quaid, his cousin Eddie, was amazing. I mean, he had a smaller part in the first one, but they made it a lot bigger, and just a great, great movie, man. And I do. I think it might be. In my opinion, it's my personal favorite. I'm not going to say it's the best one. It's definitely better in European Vacation. I mean, I like European Vacation, but for me, I would rank them Christmas, then National Lampoon's Vacation, then European Vacation would be my third.
European Vacation is my favorite of the vacation films.
Really?
I,
Don't get me wrong, I love it, man, but you like it better in the first one than Christmas?
yeah,
Wow.
I do. I do. I like Christmas Vacation. I can definitely get too much of it.
Mm.
If that makes any sense. But, when you got grandma putting her hand over her heart singing.
Yeah. Well, you know who that old lady is, don't you? That's Betty Boop. That's the lady who did the voice for Betty Boop. They actually posted something with her on Facebook and social media a while back, and they showed her when she was younger. She was the real life Betty Boop. And what's crazy is she kind of looked like Betty. Like they even had her dressed up and everything like Betty with a microphone, but she's the gal that did Betty Boop's voice, which when you hear it, now you're like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Yeah.
that's a fun movie. I mean, it's definitely a standard every year. You watch it every year.
Oh, dude, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's and again, that's a movie that has heart in parts because there's the part where, his niece, he's actually fantasizing about the hot chick in the store and Santa,
Yeah.
and it scares the shit out of Clark, and the little girl was just hilarious, man. We're really nervous. Oh yeah, that bad, huh? Shit and rocks. Oh, you shouldn't use that word. Oh, sorry, or what's it, shit and bricks, or oh, sorry, shit and rocks, or whatever. And then he, gives her the whole speech. Well, if you believe in him and blah blah, and she just looks at me and goes, Uncle Clark, are you sure you're not Santa? And he's like, Yeah, I'm sure. And then he looks all sad and goes, I can't even afford to be an elf. I'm like, fuck, we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there, man. And the fact that, yeah, he was like, I mean, that was the whole point. That's why he went off on his boss. He's like, if you want to take out bonuses, that's fine, but to do it and not even let anybody know about it ahead of time.
Right.
Fucking bullshit,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. I remember
I
when
mean, but my favorite part too is when the guy in charge goes, "That's pretty low, mister. If I had a rubber hose, I would beat you. I've reinstated the bonuses. I've changed my mind." It was like I would take a rubber hose, and I mean that's what's so great about that movie. There's just so many funny parts that even the little characters have great lines like that.
oh yeah. It's like I said, it's a standard.
Yeah, for sure.
My number three, we've already spoken about. It's A Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim, 1951. Uh,
Fuck yeah.
that's hands down my absolute favorite version of that movie.
Yes.
And I think that's more for nostalgia's sake because the Disney version might be better. But I was
But for the time that it was made and how loyal it is, like I said, one of my favorite parts is again when they go back, they don't just go back, like
yeah,
they go back to when Marley and him take over the fucking company, man. Like basically a hostile takeover. Yes, folks, they did them back then too.
yeah,
And the part where they're like, and the guy's even like, "Don't you understand? To save the company, they become the company." He's all laughing, and they're all like, "Never, never." They're just getting all indignant. And he looks at Marley, and they both just go like this, like, "We fucking got you,
yeah,
motherfucker." Like you're gonna do it, just to have that arrogant, smug, like, I
yeah.
got you. I got you.
I think he's the scariest Ebenezer Scrooge.
Well, yeah, but again, he did such a great job because
Yeah,
once he
very
changes,
miserly, very
yeah,
mean.
very like, like mean, and some of the looks he gives Cratchit when you ask that every 25th and every year it's this
Yeah,
convenient, and then later when you see him change, he did a great job
yeah,
with that part of it because that's to be a good Scrooge, you got to be able to do the mean side, but you also got to do the
yeah.
enlightened
Yeah, you
Scrooge.
got to do the humble, the apologetic,
Yeah,
the sincerely, I have fucked up. Yeah,
bad, yeah, like one of the most emotional parts to me is when he asks his nephew's wife, "Can you forget an old fool?"
yeah,
Because I mean, he just snubbed him every year.
yep,
But it's like Freddie never gave up on his Uncle Scrooge, man. Again, I thought that was a beautiful part of the story. He never gave up. He even said that, "Hey, man, I like my Uncle Scrooge. I know he's a dick, but it was almost like in today's language, it'd be like, I know he's a dick, but he's my dick." I've
exactly.
always thought it'd be kind of cool to do a, I mean, there's that which is in my honorable mentions. There's the Bill Murray Scrooged,
Yeah,
which is kind of a more modern, but I always thought it'd be kind of cool to do a Christmas Carol, but set in modern times with that kind of language. Like, hey, look, I know he's a dick, but he's my dick.
that'd probably be fun. I'd watch the hell out of it.
Yeah. Like, in fact, I call him Uncle Dick behind his bag,
Yeah,
you know.
you're number two.
My number two, man, is standard. I mean, there's literally stations that run it and only it all the time, but I never get tired of it. And part of it's, again, family, my mom and dad, this character's a little bit older than my dad. He would have been the age of the little brother at this time that the story takes place. And the scene that gets my dad, and when he showed it to my grandma laughed so hard she cried. And that's, of course, A Christmas Story, where mom's dressing Randy, the little brother, up, and literally, I can't. My grandma used to do that to my father. He said that is. It just goes to show you that I guess all moms across America must have done that to their little one
Right.
because dad said I would be sweating and I'm like, I don't even want to fucking go out now. I
Yeah.
wanted to play in the snow, but by the time your grandma got done with me, and when he showed my grandma Vi, that movie, but before he showed her the movie, he goes, "Mom, I just want you to see this scene." My grandma died, man. She was laughing so hard she was crying, because it's again, there had to have been some truth to that.
Sure, I'm sure.
And
I
my
remember
dad,
getting done up so much you could barely move.
yeah, but I mean, I guess back then it was even like Randy laid like a slug. It was his only defense, man. My dad's like, yeah, you couldn't get up. You couldn't do shit. Cause I mean, it's just it's such a I mean, there's just so many great one-liners in that movie and just the whole because even I'm old enough. I remember how my mom was about the Red Ryder BB gun. Oh, you'll shoot your eye out. You can't have one of those, and just the fact that we've all had that one Christmas present that we like remember more than anyone. Mine wasn't the Red Ryder BB gun, but it was an awesome gift, and it's just in fact, I don't even know did you ever hear of the Starbird? It was a ship
Mm-mm.
and it was white and originally it was just the Starbird, and it would have like sound effects and engines and lights, and it would do all this cool shit. And you could like take it apart and make a shorter craft of it. Very reminiscent of like the Enterprise. You know how like in the Enterprise D, the saucer could separate from the rest of the ship if it like that.
Nice.
Well, then eventually what they did is they renamed the white one the Starbird Avenger, and then they had the Starbird Intruder. And the Starbird Intruder was all black and sleek, and it was the bad guy ship. And you'd take off the outer hull, and it had a skull for a face, and had all these sound effects. And oh, I loved that toy, man. I loved it so much. And there were some other great toys I had as a kid, but that's definitely one of mine. That's definitely like one of my favorite. I wish I could find that again. I wish I could find that again. I mean, that's how much I loved that. That and one of my other favorite action figures, besides all the Spider-Man and Batman stuff my parents bought me, was the Micronauts, Baron Karza.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if you know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about, but
I do.
fuck, it's awesome. But anyway, man, A Christmas Story. That's my number two, brother.
Nice, nice. My number two already been mentioned, but come on, Pesci is so fucking funny in this movie. Home Alone. You know,
Yes.
Kevin McAllister, that character, that kid is the most. That's the most Batman dude.
Yeah, he is. Fuck, he was like a regular James Bond.
It's
Another thing I wanted to mention, I forget his name, but the old guy who played the neighbor that everybody's scared of.
yeah,
Um,
the
I
guy.
really love that old man. He was a
Yeah,
great character actor. He was in Christine. He's the old dude who
yeah.
sells the car
Stole the car. Yeah,
to Arnie, man, and always great in everything he was in. And yeah, just such a good movie. Like I said, man, I thought it was just going to be all about, and I'm going, okay, it's going to be like a one trick pony. It wasn't, man. It was just so well done. Um, yeah. Uh, like I said, that's why it's on my list, man. So good pick, brother.
that's a good one. I mean, I like both of them with him in it. Sometimes I like the second one better, but just for nostalgia's
I
sake.
like the second one, but I don't like it as well as the first. I do like it though. I thought it was a good sequel.
Yeah, it was fun too. But yeah, the original Home Alone is great. Can't go wrong. All right, number one.
It's one you mentioned before. It's a Wonderful Life.
All
It's
right.
just a movie that every year we watch. I still watch it for all the reasons I said before, man. I think it's just a perfect Christmas movie. And even though, have you ever seen the Saturday Night Live skit where they said the extended ending?
No.
Oh, it's great because they have I think it was Drew Carey doing or not Drew Carey, Dana Carvey doing Jimmy Stewart. And it basically it showed because remember, Mr. Potter kind of pulls a shitty and gets by with it. I mean,
Yeah.
all the money's coming from everybody helping him out, including his friend.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the thing. He kept trying to get a hold of his buddy to loan him the money because, and sure as shit, he did. As soon as he found out, I mean, that's what happens. Everybody's bringing him money, and all of a sudden he gets the telegram, wired this much money into your account.
Yeah.
Hee haw, his good friend. Um, but he's just so moved. But I'm like, Potter stole the money and never fucking gets punished. So this SNL skit has Jimmy Stewart and the whole family. Somebody goes, I found this old bastard, and he's making him go into to you know George's house, the Bailey house, and they start beating the shit out of Potter, and then the credits go up. It's like, and I think there is some truth to that because I think we all wanted to see Potter get his,
Yeah,
and he really doesn't, other than he didn't win ultimately. I mean that's what's part of it. Is like, why don't you go to the riffraff you love so much? And well, that's exactly what happened. The riffraff helped him. You fucking
exactly.
miserable old prick. Who, by the way, the actor Lionel Barrymore. Drew Barrymore's great uncle,
Yeah,
sweetest guy you'd ever want to meet in real life. But he could play some assholes. Like there's a great old Western he was in where he plays kind of an hard ass called A Duel in the Sun. He was really good at playing those kind of characters.
nice.
Not always. I mean, I think he was in Key Largo with Humphrey Bogart and he plays a good guy in it. But yeah, he was always, but even then he's kind of grumpy. He was just great at playing a grumpy old man. Like he could have done the whole he was the original get off my lawn guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely a classic. Can't go.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, like I said, it's just one of those things where as a little kid, I watched it with my parents, and it's just been one of those. And it's the movie that made me a Jimmy Stewart fan. I mean, after that, I checked out as I got older and was video rentals, man. I would rent new movies, but I would also rent the old movies too. I mean, I rented Vertigo and a lot of the other great, Philadelphia
Right.
Story and a lot of other great Jimmy Stewart movies because I became a fan. So yeah, that's my number one.
Nice. Mine has also been mentioned, but this hasn't changed ever since I've seen it. It's always been my all-time favorite Christmas movie. 1983 is A Christmas Story, man. Sorry, that shit
Yeah.
it kills me every
Oh,
time.
it's hilarious,
I
dude.
laugh.
Oh, fudge. I mean, it's like, oh my God. And Darren McGavin as the dad, and the way he would sound like he was cussing, even though
Yeah,
he's
even though
cussing.
he's
I
not.
mean, Darren McGavin, very underrated actor. I don't think that dude got enough credit. He was great, and everything he ever did, I loved him, and he was hilarious in that movie, man.
Oh yeah, my absolute favorite. Yeah, I think my favorite scene. I mean, once the turkey's been demolished by the dogs, and he's so distraught. He's like, "We're going out to eat," but that whole when they slap that duck in front of him, he's like,
Well,
"It's,"
it's a beautiful bird, but it's smiling at me. Yeah.
and then
And
they just go,
I loved about it too was,
"Them's the
you know,
dead bars with bars of hurry."
yeah, yeah, it's fucking great, dude.
I
But
watch
again,
it all day long, Christmas Day on TBS every year without fail. I own it. I watch it 3 or 4 times a year.
and that's
Would be
awesome.
one of my favorite movies in
Yeah,
general.
it's a great movie, man. And
Yeah.
and because here's the thing, again, and it ties in because I told you that sad story about the holidays. The guys that attacked me, they started it. They started getting physical with me, and I'm all like, "What is your problem, man?" Because I was trying to make sure the other dude was okay, even though he was like, "Your car, what about my snowmobile? You didn't see my light?" And I'm like, "No, asshole, the fucking snow's. I mean, the snow was just pouring down."
Right.
I go, you're not supposed to be out in the fucking street anyway, dipshit. At first I was pissed. But then I started thinking, man, this guy could be hurt. He hit my fucking car. I'm like, bro, you all right? And he's like, I think so. I'm like, no, seriously, man. And I'm like, are you all right? Because if need, we'll call an ambulance, man. Because I started thinking, man, this guy could be fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Next thing I know is one of his friends starts fucking manhandling me. And I said, dude, get your fucking mitts off me, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. And then he did it again. And I fucking warned him. I said, dude, you grab me again and it's on. You got me? And he fucking pushed me and then I shoved him. And then it just escalated from there. He one of his buddies goes to grab me. And he had long hair. So I grabbed him by his ponytail and I literally headbutted him right in the nose, man. But because back then I didn't have glasses. I had my contacts. And I was a bigger guy back then, pretty big, I fucking just bashed his fucking face in. He's all, oh, there's blood all over my coat, all over him. And then the other dude like hit me, but he kind of hit me in the back of the head and he put me in a headlock, which in a way was a mistake because he was really tall and skinny. So I just lifted him up and literally slammed him into my grandma's tree because my grandma lived right across the street. And I basically started punching him. The problem was it's slippery, it's icy, it's snowy, and I fall on top of him.
Yeah.
but I'm punching him. And an obscenity, a torrent of him, very reminiscent of Ralphie,
Yeah.
where I'm getting at. Remember, where he's just
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
snaps, fucking just, yeah. And he's like, just, that was me, dude. I just, because again, I'm already going through all this emotional turmoil. My heart's broken. I mean, this is a girl I thought I was going to marry. You know what I mean? And I know, hey, man, it's life. You get your heart broken. I mean, look, I look back now and there's times where I want to slap my past self, like, dude, you know, get a
I,
grip.
I definitely feel you.
I mean, it was just like, because I kind of cringe because I'm like, damn, Mike, I mean, yeah, she was great. She had a great ass, but man, like, but again, that's just part of getting older. When you're in love, and I was crazy about this girl, you think it is the end of your world. You think you're never going to love again. And I will say this, I don't think I've ever loved anyone the way I loved her,
Right.
you know.
I get that.
And that's what I mean. We've mended fences. She came back, she literally um got contacted me years later, extended an olive branch, and we're cool now. And she's even acknowledged that there is something there between us. We don't quite know what it is, but there is a connection,
Right.
you know. And I mean, the first that was the thing she said. She goes, "I just want you to know I'm really, really sorry for what I did because you were a good guy, Mike, and you didn't deserve that. I was a selfish fucking twat, and I'm sorry." And I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh,
That's
I
what you really had to say in the first fucking place, man. If you'd just told me, hey, I'm not feeling it, I don't know what I want, whatever, I wouldn't have liked it. But, I mean, because I said, babe, if you could write a book on how not to break up with a dude, you kind of did it.
yeah.
You did it. You did the one thing that, I mean, because as I said, back then they didn't call it ghosting, but that's what it was. And that shit's painful, man, because it's like, oh, fuck, you don't even have enough respect for me to tell me. You know,
Yep.
I'd have more. I mean, seriously, I'd have more respect for a chick if she told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's,
Anyway,
let's recap these. So for me, it was starting from 10 to 1, It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, the 1947 version, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version, Disney's A Christmas Carol, again, the Jim Carrey version, Christmas Chronicles, the Santa Claus, the movie, A Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim, Home Alone, and rounding out at A Christmas Story. What you got?
number 10, Fred Claus. Number 9, The Family Man. Number 8, The Apartment. Number 7, Bad Santa. Number 6, Home Alone. Number 5, The Bishop's Wife. Number 4, Scrooge, the 1951 version with Alistair Sim and the 1970 with Albert Finney. 3, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Number 2, A Christmas Story. Number 1, It's a Wonderful Life.
Absolutely. Those are our top 10 favorite Christmas movies. It was hard to come up with this list. I'll go ahead and run through my honorable mentions. I don't want to spend a lot of time on them. You mentioned it earlier, The Family Man 2000, The Muppet Christmas Carol from 1992.
Good one.
Where Marley and Marley. I love it. Last Christmas, it's actually a newer one from 2019. I don't know this chick's name. I know she was in Game of Thrones. I've never seen an.
Oh, Emily Clark. I haven't seen that yet. Is it
Yeah.
good?
It's real good. It's a rom com.
Yeah.
It hits you in the fucking feels real hard, but it's great. It's
I'll have to
absolutely
check that
great.
out. I think that's available on streaming. I've seen it around. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of, sometimes it's just with rom-coms, you never know. Some of them are really good. And then
This
to
one,
me, most time they're either good or they're not.
no, this one's really good. I actually saw it in the theater.
Oh, okay.
You know, the girl I was dating at the time was that redhead that I had with me down there one time.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
She did not want to see this. We ended up enjoying it. That was a me pick. But yeah, that's a lot of
You
fun.
softy. See, that's what I mean. Deep down, you're just a big softy, Bushy.
Well,
You
you know,
try to come across as a hard ass, but you're not.
Scrooge, 1988, Bill Murray. Come on,
I'm
that's
going to ignore that, Mike. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
We'll roll right past that. 2020, Fat Man, Mel Gibson plays Santa Claus.
That's a good one, man. I
Love
love
that.
that movie.
I
That was
love that
great.
movie. What a concept. A little kid hires a hitman to kill Santa because he gets a you know box of coal for Christmas. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. The Fat Man is great, and that's definitely one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah. I also put in here Red One. Brand new. I think it's gonna be a Christmas tradition. That movie's a lot of fun. What a crazy story. I'm a Dwayne Johnson fan. Yes, it's silly because it's a Christmas movie and you're dealing with Santa Claus. But the dude that played Santa Claus, man, he's such a badass. I love the sleigh. I like the take on the reindeer. The whole movie's great. Chris Evans is hilarious in this movie. I definitely like that one. There's also another new one, Jack Black, Dear Santa.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Is it
This
good?
movie's hilarious. Mindy started calling me, started looking at me, says, You're fucking Satan because of some of the things I do that Jack Black does as the devil. Premise of this movie is that a little kid, he's a little dyslexic. He
And
writes
he
a letter
put
to
Dear Satan instead of Dear Santa.
Satan. Yeah, so Satan comes up to give him three wishes.
Oh,
it's
cool.
fucking, it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. The Man Who Invented Christmas, all this Christmas Carol talk. How can we not watch the movie about the guy that wrote it?
Right.
A lot of fun. You can actually see that one on Prime Video. Uh,
Yeah, I know.
Santa made my list from 2003. Babes in Toyland, 1961. I watched that countless times with my mom.
Can I interject for just a minute? I haven't watched it yet, but I've got it on my watch list. There's a series, I think, on Amazon. I don't think it's an Amazon original called this Dicasian, which was a term used for people um that describes Dickens and the time that
Right.
he lived in. And it's all the characters from his stories. It's like all the stories, all his books, but they interact.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
yeah, Nicholas Nickleby meets Ebenezer Scrooge, and yeah, and I'm like, that's kind of an interesting premise. I might have to check that out just to see if it's any good. I don't know if it is, but it seems kind of cool.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like, I guess, the Castle Rock series with Stephen King for Hulu, which again I never watched it, but they would take characters from all the different Stephen King books and put
Yeah.
them together.
I
Anyway, go ahead.
that one either. Babes in Toyland, 1961 musical. Um, Watched it with my mom all the time. It's Christmas tradition there. And then this one's newer. A lot of people, I guess you missed it. El Camino Christmas. Um, you got Tim Allen basically playing a drunk, deadbeat dad, and all this stuff all takes place in a gas station.
Mm,
You got a robbery going on. You got people getting shot, but you got this alcoholic who's met up with his long lost son, and he's trying to mend that. And kind of a Dickensian, however you would say that
Asian, yeah.
story. Yeah, because he's got to come to grips with, yeah, I was a fuck up. I should have been there. Uh, it. I know it was on Netflix. I don't know if you can still see it, but I highly recommend you go check that one out.
Right on, man. Uh, yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay, cool. There was one that I'm surprised neither one of us mentioned, and I'm not a fan of this movie. Again, I love a lot of musicals, but for whatever reason, I could not get into this one. And a lot of people consider it a Christmas film, and that's The Sound of Music. I could just never get into that movie. What about you? Are you a fan at all? Or I noticed you didn't put it in your honorable mentions, so I'm going to assume that you're like, eh.
I grew up with that movie. I watched it so much with my mom. That's not a fucking Christmas movie.
Yeah, well, some people feel it is, so I don't either. But now I've got a few movies that I don't. I'm only giving them honorable mention because a lot of people do consider them. I don't, and there's three of them, and part of it's because they weren't released during Christmas.
Right.
That's Die Hard, that's Gremlins, and that's Trading Places. I absolutely love all three films, but I do not consider them Christmas movies. I don't give a fuck. Just because
Gremlins
someone's
would probably be the
Christmas,
closest.
huh?
Gremlins would be the closest.
Yeah, but it's not about Christmas.
No, it just
Gremlins
takes
could have
place.
taken any place the time of the
Yeah,
year. It could have taken
just
place around
takes place
Halloween.
at Christmas time. Yeah, that's my
Right.
argument.
It could have made
Die
it even
Hard.
more scary if they'd had it during Halloween. Like, how fucked up would that have been? They're running around. You got all these kids with fucking masks on and shit,
Yeah,
like, which I'm not knocking Gremlins. I'm just saying, to me, a Christmas movie has to have Christmas be an integral part of the story.
yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And I think all my picks, Christmas is an integral part of the story. Um,
I'd say
okay.
I know mine.
Uh, huh?
So I know mine were.
Yeah. So those are, yeah. So The Ref with Dennis Leary and Kevin Spacey. Um, Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. That's a Christmas movie.
I'd forgotten
Um,
about that one.
Just Friends with Amy Smart and Ryan. I love the guy to death, man. Deadpool.
Oh,
Uh,
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. That's a pretty cool movie. Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon, hilarious.
Yeah.
Mickey's Christmas Carol, I mentioned that. Scrooged, Bill Murray. Prancer, but the 1989 version with Sam Elliott
Sam
is
Elliott version. Yeah.
that's a really good movie.
Really good
My
movie.
mom loved that movie. She even said the little girl reminded her of herself. And then when she showed me pictures as a kid, I'm like, damn, mom.
Right.
Yeah. Sure, that's not like a long distant relation or something. She looked like my mom. So again, it's a movie that's kind of hard for me to watch now because I miss my mom so much. But Love Actually, I know it's a rom-com, but damn it, I think it's a good feel-good movie, and I definitely consider it a Christmas movie because it's literally about telling the people you love that you love them during Christmas time.
Right. Watch Last Christmas. I think you'll like it.
Huh?
Go ahead and watch Last Christmas. I think you'll like
Oh,
it.
okay. Dr. Seuss's The Grinch with Jim Carrey, The Polar Express,
Oh, how did I
One
forget?
Magic Christmas with Maureen Steenburgen.
Nice.
Interesting take on Santa Claus because it's more like the German version.
Yeah, it's St.
Uh,
Nicholas.
but I really like it. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's kind of a not a very merry person, and of course she changes too. Santa Claus the movie that you mentioned already, The Holiday with Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet with Jack Black and Jude Law. I think that's a very cute movie, and I've always had a big crush on Kate Winslet, so yeah, I really like that movie, and it gives me hope that a fat guy like Jack Black gets the girl. So
Yeah. Right.
even though I'm not that big anymore. And of course, Miracle on 34th Street. I prefer the 1947 version, but I thought the 94 version was pretty decent too.
The guy from Jurassic Park, right?
Yeah, Sir Richard Attenborough, the great director who directed so many great movies. He's really more of a director than an actor, but he was a good actor too. Because, like you
I
said,
like that version of Miracle on 34th Street
it's
as well.
not as good as the original. I mean,
Right.
I don't think you're ever gonna outdo fucking Edmund Gwenn. I mean, that guy made just a fucking awesome Santa Claus. But yeah,
Great list, great stuff. You got anything to
thank
plug?
you. Anything to plug, real? Honestly, not really, man, except happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. And make sure that if you don't know about some of these movies, check them out, man. Especially like, the ones you didn't know, The Apartment and uh The Bishop's Wife, man. Check those movies out, guys. If you're not familiar with any of these movies, I mean, obviously some of them you are gonna
Oh
be,
yeah,
but
their standards.
and also check out the ones Bushy just talked about. Dear Santa, The Last
Dear Santa,
Christmas,
Dear Santa with Jack Black, Last Christmas with that chick from Game of Thrones, and Red One. Red One's fun, man.
Red One. Yeah, I definitely want to see that too, man.
Fun. But
All right, brother. Well,
I have some stuff to fucking promote. I came prepared. Okay, I do my job.
I'm fucking always prepared, bitch.
As far as Christmas specials go, definitely watch this. Where is it? Let me get that out of the way. Emmett Otter's Drug Bank
Fucking
Christmas.
glare, dude.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I know what you.
Emmett Otter's Drug Bank Christmas. Give that a check. If you're into reading, you don't want to watch a movie. There's something called a Christmas Treasury of Yuletide stories and poems. It's loaded with great stuff. It's also got Dickens' A Christmas Carol in it, several short stories and poems. And if you just do music, just go with the greatest Christmas album of all fucking time.
I am with you on that, dude. John Denver and the Muppets. Christmas is that's another that was on the turntable. That was a Tyler family staple every year when it came out. My brother Mark still plays that record on his turntable, man.
I played it when I was putting up my tree. Uh,
Yeah,
I played it since my turntable is actually right here where my hand is because this is kind of my little studio.
it's fantastic, man.
Love it, absolutely love it. That's good,
Yeah.
man. Merry Christmas, everybody. I don't know if we'll get back to doing an episode before Christmas.
Well, hopefully we will. Well, I mean,
I'll be on.
we can talk about that off mic or off camera or whatever.
I will be on Black Spinner Circle this Wednesday. I've got a
Oh yeah.
lot of
What are
work
you
tomorrow.
What are you doing?
I think it's top 10 plus 5 or top 11 plus 5, however he does it. Albums 1975, but he's already crippled me. There's no live records.
Oh, so you can't pick Kiss Alive?
Come on, it's only
Damn it! You're killing me. You're killing me, Andrew.
greatest fucking album 1975, but no live albums, no compilations.
Fucking hands down. Like Kiss Alive. What's the greatest Kiss album ever?
Yeah, agreed.
You know.
But check me out there. I know Metal Mike's been on there a few times. He's been making the circuit. been making the
Oh
round.
yeah, I'm a podcast whore.
Yeah,
I'll appear on anybody. If
been paying.
Adolf Hitler had a which guy, and I'd be like, I'm there, dude. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I've been. Yeah, you would. You'd do it. And you
Yeah, so I could tell him what a fucking
you'd
piece of
tell
shit.
Hitler, look, I'm the fucking talent. Shut up with all your acrobat. You know?
Nobody cares that you hate Jews, Adolf. We know.
Happy Hanukkah, bitch.
Yeah, bitch.
Wouldn't it be great if we found out all these years later that he was really just a self-hating Jew?
You
God,
know what? There's that theory. There is that theory, man, that they
because
think
he's not blonde hair, blue eyed. It's
he
funny.
sure as fuck ain't. I never thought. I'm like, okay, so your ideal is, but you don't look a fucking thing like that.
Nothing. Yeah, insane. So yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's good to be back. Get us
Always.
metal, Mike.
All right, man. Keep fighting the good fight. Stay metal to your dying breath. There is one thing. Check out the Metal Mike Show on Cranium Radio from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. And Ozzy bless. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Am I missing anything? I don't know. I mean, there's so many different holidays this time of the year. I can't keep track. But if whatever it is you believe in, go with your deity and have fun and
Have a merry
Ozzy.
yeah. Yeah, guys.
Happy New Year too.
With this being a Christmas episode, I'm not going to curse. I'm just going to say buy vinyl. I've already cussed enough throughout the whole episode.
What are you fucking talking about, Bushy?
I know, right? We'll see you next time.